Greetings. God damn, it's been a while. Welcome back. How have you all been? Apologies for not doing a video in a rather long time. I did have this originally scheduled for, believe it or not, Halloween to do this figure review, but with the way, the world has been recently, schedules, work, downtime, availability, etc. I've just not been able to really post anything to YouTube in a long time. I've been trying to record as much as I can, but where I have to kind of like film part of a review and stop and then pick it up another day, I kind of lose focus. So today I've got a little bit of time to actually film a complete review without having, an edit or a chop or something in between. So I thought, okay, let's get him out. This is the 2019 Monsterarts King Ghidorah, a very cool figure. Now, for those of you who do know who this guy is, but for those who don't, I'll just give you a little bit of backlore. Now, when it comes to this version of King Ghidorah, while he doesn't differ greatly from his Taro counterpart, enough changes were made to kind of cement him to be more realistic in the Monsterverse. We know he is an alien. It's depicted in the film. They have kept his alien origin, which was one thing I was grateful for. But when it comes to powers and abilities, there's so much speculation, especially with the creature's history in the universe as well, that it's very hard to put a lid on what actually happened. Not to too deep dive into the whole Ghidorah landing on Earth thing. We know he landed on Earth in a period where humanity worshipped the Titans and built great cities in worship to them. There was a great battle that took place, which ended up with Ghidorah being trapped in the ice. While there is some speculation which version of Godzilla actually fought this the version of King Ghidorah in the film, we still won't really know. It's very hard to pin down. We know from the backlore that Godzilla in the movies was dormant for many millions of years and only kind of woke up in the 1940s and 50s. While a lot will consider, what the director said as, that this Godzilla knew of King Ghidorah, I don't. It's very hard to explain. If he was dormant, then how did he know? Unless this was something, unless there's some kind of race memory shared between the different species. It's very hard to pin down. But anyway, off topic. There was a great battle, and he was trapped in the ice. Fast forward a couple of 100,000 years, Monarch builds obviously their outpost around him, and unfortunately for them, a couple of terrorists come along, not realizing what they're going to release, and boom, we now have an alien creature free on the planet, terrorizing and trying to terraform. When it comes to the actual abilities of this version of King Ghidorah, a few things have changed, but a lot of things have stayed the same. He still has his impressive wingspan and 3 heads, although the addition of his vestigial 2 tails that kind of only flopped there in the Toho version, the fact that they actually incorporated them more into his design and gave them kind of a rattlesnake feature, so when he spread his wings he shook them to intimidate, was actually a nice little touch. He has aurum running through his body in this version, which actually explains the golden coloration, as well as his ability to harness great amounts of electrical energy, as noted by firing lightning beams from either one or all 3 of his mouths at the same time. Although, as also later shown in the film, he can actually use this ability, pass it through his body to expel great amounts of power and energy. I think this is probably an ability he could do on his own without any external help, but it would probably be a one-shot ability. I think personally it's something he can only do once, but there is speculation on this too. We also know he has the powers of regeneration, which he can use to great effect, as well as the ability to communicate with each of his heads. While there is one main head in command of the other 2, while they do fight amongst each other and have their own personalities, that form of telepathy does vastly help communication and to get Ghidorah going where he needs to be. While it does show that the leftmost head kind of has more of an inquisitive nature, I would have said if he would actually put that head in charge, he may have been more docile and not as aggressive. But maybe that might be why he came to Earth. There is a lot of speculation. A lot of people in the community say that the Ghidorah was the outcast of his own species. There's a whole species of Ghidorah out there. Whether on their own planet or whether they roam the stars is another story. We don't really know the true origins or backstory or where he came from, other than he landed on Earth and there was a great fight. We don't really know. Unfortunately, it's all speculation. But anyway, off topic. Other abilities King Ghidorah does have in the Monsterverse is ability to terraform the biosphere around him by he's able to create giant storms, as well as alter the landscape and the area around him to great effect. Not only does this make it very hard for other titans, especially flying ones, to even try and get near him. While he's in the air, he's pretty much unstoppable. There's only a few flying titans that can even get anywhere near him, as you can see in the film with Rodan. While Rodan was rather shocked to come across Ghidorah in the giant storm, I will admit, Mr. Ego himself did at least try and put up a fight. He went for him. I will admit that was a nice touch. But there is speculation on that as well as why that version of Rodan we got in the movie did attack Ghidorah outright and didn't run away. What a lot of people would say, it's more of a fan nod to the fact of, he really is more of a, an anti-hero type character. Um, I actually fit it in with the backstory and the lore quite nicely because in the mural it does depict a Rodan joining in the battle. So the fact that you kind of have a moment of recognition where he's afraid, spreads his wings, and he's like, no, I'm going to go in for an attack. It kind of leads me to believe that the Rodan that was fighting Ghidorah originally is the same Rodan we get in the King of the Monsters. Although why he doesn't have his fire breath ability that's depicted in the mural, we're not sure. But it's one of those things. From a directive standpoint, I understand they didn't really want another monster that had yet again another form of a beam breath. But come on, give Rodan some props. He needs a be. Come on. But anyway, in regards to the extra backlore, other than these powers and abilities which I've stated, a lot remains unknown and a mystery about this version of King Ghidorah. Obviously, in King of the Monsters, you see what happens to him in the end. In Godzilla vs. Kong, you see what they do with one of his heads. Whether he can come back from that and regenerate, we don't know. But as we know, one of the heads with an intact neck did survive. Whether this was the head that was actually used, we are not entirely sure. Although in the novelization it does state there are actually two heads. One in Mechagodzilla and one that they pilot from. So maybe not. We're not entirely sure. Will King Ghidorah ever return in the franchise? Who knows? It may be nice to see him, but unless they do go down the route of there's multiple of his species and another one comes to Earth, it's going to be hard to work out. But then again, if they did do that, it would be nice to see Gigan accompanying him, on his journey to Earth. But yeah, when it comes to the backlore, unfortunately, there is not much more info I can dish out. But I digress. I'm talking too much about the film. I do apologise. If you know me, I am a Godzilla nut. I love everything about Godzilla, whether it's past, present, or hypothetical future stuff that they're going to be coming up with. So I do apologise if I ramble a tad when it comes to Godzilla stuff. Now, on with the figure. As you can tell, he's a big boy. Rather large. He does have some minute forms of articulation. The wings can move, although they can't fold. You can put him in a flight position, although I wouldn't really recommend it because the wings tend to pop off of their weird little hexagonal pole things they're stuck on. All three of the heads can move, although please be aware, because they are ball joints, they do suffer, especially Kevin, bless him, from popping off. So I tend to kind of like find a pose that I like the heads in. A lot of people, more than likely, as I said, I don't want to move Kevin too much. A lot of people kind of have, that pose with all the mouths open, mimicking, him sat on top of the volcano, with a cross down at the side. But you can get some nice, cool poses out of this guy. It's just, I think this is more personally akin to a statue. And I think when it came down to it, Tamashii probably had two avenues they could go down. But they decided to kind of do a bit of both. It was like, oh, well, we're going to have to kind of do a bit of a statue, but give it some articulation still. I personally would have preferred a statue if they were going to go down that route. I just would have liked a statue that would have been in scale, with the rest. Or, do what NECA did and, for instance, see here on each of the wing joints, maybe have the little pin, just like the Rodan, so you can fold the wings in. I wouldn't have minded that. That wouldn't have taken away from his overall design. I can probably understand they really want to, scene from the film where he's got his wings spread and everything. But yeah, a little bit of that probably wouldn't have been an issue. It would definitely saved on cabinet space because the wingspan of this guy is just ridiculous. Paint applications now. While on some parts they did actually some nice work when it comes to the shading and whatnot, when it comes to the main body and the head and like the eyes, or should I say heads, apologies, I've got to be careful of Kevin because he's a little git and they do like to pop off. The top half of the body, for instance here, doesn't really have too much paint on it, especially the back. I would do a 360 for you, sort of like take pictures of the back side of it. It's just this guy is so big and he tends to fall over. I do apologise, I'm not going to. But as you can see from here, some of the paint apps on the wings especially are really, really nice. Now, I know a lot of collectors have kind of done a minute black wash over their entire figure to kind of fix the issue, you know, give it some detail, make it pop. I did think of that myself, but you know me, unless I'm making my custom figures or kit bashes and stuff I want to do, I don't really like to tinker too much, and Ghidorah was one of those figures that I don't really want to mess with, you know, too much at all. I know there's a few issues on him, for instance, like there's a weird mould issue with the claw. Not that you can really see it up in the corner, but my one kind of has this weird bubbling on the claw. Not really a problem. I mean, this guy is so rare to get hold of. I've not, you know, bothered by a little bit of, you know, of a paint application issue on one of the claws. But there's so much they could have done. You know, actually gave these a bone colour. Probably would have been nice instead of the, you know, the same skin colour. But the heads are actually pretty good. They've done a really good job on the heads. I'll just zoom in so you can see it a little bit closer. Can you see what I mean? The colour difference between how detailed the wings are when it comes to the flat uniform colour of the body. You know, unless you turn off the flash and have an overhead light on, you can't really tell the difference in the colour. It's only when you get that flash on that the actual difference in colour, you know, colour will show, as you can see here, which is kind of a shame. When it comes with accessories, it doesn't come with gravity beams or anything. There's no lightning effects, which was a shame. All you get is literally him, his two wings, 3 stands, and a box. And back in the day, that retailed you about £150, I believe, his original retail price for. I didn't pre-order this guy. I got lucky in one of the collector groups I just joined. Someone bought him. Didn't want him for basically the issues that I've just explained in the video. The fact that they thought he was more of a glorified statue. So it's like, well, what's the actual point of having this guy? And I literally got him for the original retail price. Apart from, I think it was about £20 shipping on top. Excuse me. Now, it's a different subject matter completely. This guy can command such ridiculous prices. It is unbelievable. It is absolutely ridiculous how much this guy can cost now. Some people want up to £400 pre-owned for this guy. And just round the corner also, you've got the special colour version dropping in the next couple of weeks. So there have been delays. I know my pre-order has been pushed back to March, so maybe even April or May by the time the pre-orders drop on this guy. Same with Mechagodzilla. I pre-ordered him through who was it? Not Kapow, but one of those sites. I've already paid him off, but his shipping date's changed. I didn't get an email or anything from the company. It's just I randomly went and looked on my order info and noticed the release date got changed from February to now March. So I'm probably expecting him same date, Mechagodzilla, probably to drop around about March, April, maybe even May. But if it gets too late, I'll probably end up cancelling the order, getting my money back, and probably paying the scalpers' prices. But it is what it is, you know. As a collector, we do what we do to try and get hold of the figures we love. But yeah, this guy is just ridiculously large. It is so absurd how big this guy actually is and how tall he will stand in the cabinet. I said it is just insane. Now bear with me, I'll give you some close-up shots of the heads just so you can see the detail of what they, you know, actually did do. As you can see, they did attempt some detail when it comes to the heads. Some nice paint apps on the tongue. And the head itself, it's just, like I said, compared to the wings, I mean, look at the detail, the paint application they put into these wings. But you go over the back, and it's like, you know, apart from a few spots, they didn't really even bother with the paint. It's just sad. Now, as I explained earlier in the video, this guy doesn't really have too much articulation. You can move his wings up and down. You know, this motion, you can kind of rotate them a little bit. You can move his feet, his legs, his heads, the jaws, you know, they will turn and everything. The tails can be moved. But overall, he's just a glorified statue. As much as I want to sing this, you know, guy's praises because he's just a sight to behold in the collection, you know, and you're probably thinking, bloody hell, does he look good? He just literally is a glorified statue with a couple of moving parts. And it is a shame. I understand why the guy I bought this off of back in the day when it actually first came out sold his off. Although it was more than likely due to the fact that, you know, like I said up here with the, you know, the spike, maybe there was a few, you know, paint app issues he wasn't happy with and other bits, and that's why I wanted to sell it on. I don't mind because, like I said, I didn't have one. I didn't know if they were going to do a version 2 re-release, and lo and behold, it's taken them, what, 3 years to finally get round to re-releasing version 2 that is more, you know, in colour with what the Ghidorah in the movie should be paint scheme wise, but we've only seen prototype shots. So even then we can't really be sure what he's really going to look like until someone gets him in the flesh. But at this moment in time, the special colour version is nowhere to be seen on YouTube. There's no one's got him, no one's done reviews. I think I've seen one or two people do reviews on the Mecha Godzilla, but other than that, yeah, it's like King Ghidorah is just, you know, magically locked away for now, and he's, you know, his astral plane, yet to be released to terrorize the world. So until then, there's not a lot we can do as collectors when it comes to the special color version, apart from sit and wait when we all finally get those notifications that he will be shipped, and obviously we can admire version 2 for hopefully the upgrade that it will be. Although please bear in mind, version 2 is still based on the original mould, so there's no changes to the wings, there's no changes to the body. I believe it's just updated paint apps and maybe a few tweaks to the heads. That's the rumour. But like I said, we've only really seen prototype shots. And even then, the prototype shots, as we know, are subject to change. So it's one of those things. It is what it is. But yeah, if you're after this guy, unfortunately, he is no longer in production. The only way you will get this guy is if you're lucky, maybe a website or two still has him out there in the ether, in the land called internet. Other than that, it's going to be literally second-hand, Amazon, eBay, whatever weird eBay alternate site they use in America and China for their kaiju needs. This guy, I will warn you, will not be cheap. Not by the slightest. He can command quite a high price now, pretty much akin to Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker territory. From some sellers, mint in box, I would recommend you probably not pay any more than 300. But there's some people out there that are trying to sell pre-owned, you know, out of the box, displayed and everything, just like mine, for up to £500 to £600. So yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to the version 1 now, the special colour version was announced and a lot of people pre-ordered. The original one is probably just going to go up and up in price. Not into Biolante territory, I think, where he's like £1,000 or £1,500 now. But I think he'll definitely get there. You know, it will be similar prices, I think, down the line to the Heavy Arms Mecha Godzilla and Biolante, depending how well the special colour version actually does on release. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative to a degree. Like I said, I do apologise for not posting in a long time, but like I said, with the way the world is now, you know, it's a strange old place and we don't really know what the hell's going on. I've been literally working full time, and the odd day here and there I have had off. I have been trying to film, but like I said, it's been in separate parts. You know, stuff hasn't gelled in the end. I've rethought my mind on a lot of stuff I've filmed, and, you know, I'm just trying to get days where I'm actually off. The missus is out, and I've got an afternoon where I can, you know, pull a guy out the cabinet, so to speak, film a review and get something done. But anyway, apologise for rambling. If you like this, please leave me some love in the comment section. We all know what the algorithms are like. You know, I don't really do this for, you know, loads of views. I'm not planning on doing, you know, YouTube videos and things for loads of views. I just want to review figures and talk about, you know, Godzilla and other stuff because I like talking about it. So hopefully you enjoy listening to it. So if you do like it, you know, drop me some love, drop me a like. Even if you're not subbed, give me a sub, you know. I'm never going to monetize this stuff, so you never got to worry about ads. I'm not going to add up stupid, you know, buy me a coffee funds and all this nonsense. It's free to watch. Feel free to watch. It will always be free. I'm not going to, you know, ask for anything. Just share the love that I have for, you know, the collecting world, figures and films, and hopefully, you know, you appreciate that love as well. Anyway, catch you all later. See you next time on the next review.